Morning, parents. Welcome to John Adams Kindergarten Open House for the 2021-2022 school year. My name is Mark Luther. I am one of the assistant principals at John Adams. I supervise kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And this is next year, of course, will be my fifth year that I've been working not only at John Adams, but working with kindergarten students as well. What we hope today is for you to get a little bit of a picture, a snapshot, if you will, of what kindergarten will look like next year for your son or your daughter, and also to give you a chance to meet some of the key people in the school that will be working directly with your son or daughter or indirectly through administration and like. A couple things, housekeeping things. If you need Arabic or Amharic translation, and we're working on getting the Spanish set up, you can click on the globe at the bottom of the Zoom link, the bottom of the Zoom page, and access that. There's also a question and answer tab. Anything that comes up that you'd like to ask, you can certainly type it in there. We want to again thank you for being here. Today's a big step, especially for parents. It's maybe your first step towards your child's regular school education starting in kindergarten. And just as a reminder, the group that will be starting kindergarten in the end of August is the class of 2035. So we just wanted you to know that you're part of a big group that in 2035 will actually be graduating from high school. We all thank you for being here today. And I'll turn it over just for an introduction for Miss Adi.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rachel Adi, and I am Mr. Luther's counterpart, serving as the second assistant principal at John Adams. I directly supervise grades 3, 4, and 5. So although I may not be working directly with your child next school year, I will definitely be seeing them in the hallways, in the cafeteria, in different places throughout the building. So we're extremely excited to have you here today and to welcome your kiddos into the building next school year.
All right, good morning. My name is Ginger Canton, and I am the proud principal here at John Adams Elementary. We are thankful that you have taken the time to join us this morning, and we will give you an overview of what you and your child can expect in the upcoming school year. And a hint, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be rewarding, and they will love it. So with that, we're going to go ahead to our next slide. You see, we've introduced ourselves. This is how we support students primarily, but we are all available to you. Mr. Luther, this will be his 5th year, as he said, working with kindergarten students. So he is very knowledgeable about the curriculum and the experiences of our youngest friends in the building. And Ms. Adi supervises grades 3 through 5. And so if you have another child coming along with a kindergartner, you have an idea of how we support and kind of divide and conquer. But that said, any of us are available to assist you. We are very excited about the upcoming school year. We will be open 5 days a week for in-person learning, if that is your choice. Now, we highly encourage and recommend all of our boys and girls to come back to full-time in-person learning for the upcoming school year. However, ACPS, like many other school divisions, are offering a 100% virtual learning experience. That means that your child would be learning from home and interacting with peers and instructors on computers with devices that we as a school division will provide. So in order to plan appropriately, ACPS launched a survey and will launch another for families who are incoming to confirm a preference for the upcoming school year. This helps us with so much of the planning that we need to do. How many of our teachers should we expect to support the in-person learning versus the online learning or virtual option? So we appreciate your feedback on that. And we will share some links at the end of our presentation so that you can be kept informed throughout the registration process and up until the start of the school year. So please access all of those before you leave us today. Back to you, Mr. Luther.
John Adams is a CETA school, something that we are very, very proud of. We have a partnership with the Kennedy Center, and CETA stands for Changing Education Through the Arts. And students are able to participate in activities that help drive home curriculum, but doing it in a fun way through the use of arts. We also offer a dual language program, which of course is completely optional for parents who would like to participate. Obviously, dual language has many benefits, but students become bilingual, biliterate, and are able to attain achievement at a higher level than perhaps the regular program. For next year, just a projection, we'll have over 600 students in grades kindergarten through 5, which translates for kindergarten for 2 dual language classes and 4 non-dual language classes. And the school hours are the same they've been for the last 4 years that I've been here, from 8 o'clock to 2:35 in the afternoon. There are 2 after-school programs that you can read about here, Campagna and the rec programs. Both of them run from the end of school, 2:30 until 6 o'clock pickup. They are not sponsored by ACPS specifically, so transportation's not provided for either one of those. It would be parent pickup. And there are fees for both of those, but those are certainly available to kindergarten parents if they choose to do that. Ms. Bridges?
Good morning. My name is Mrs. Bridges, and I am one of the school counselors here at John Adams, and it is my privilege to be a part of a very supportive school support team. Here we have my team members listed. Ms. Cruz is our social worker, Ms. Huggins is our nurse, Mr. Frazier is an additional counselor, Ms. Wazalewski is our school psychologist, and she's often partnered with a psychology intern. And this year we had the privilege of having Ms. Ruja support our students in our school. We are so excited to be available to help support your children as they enter into the school age program. And we work very closely together to support student needs and to ensure that they are successful in school. We can be reached via email as a group by simply sending us an email to jasst@acps.k12.va.us that's listed below. And currently we do have office hours via a Zoom link Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the event that you have questions for our team. We welcome you and we look forward to serving you and your children.
Next, we'd like to introduce you to Ms. Jenny Lugo, who is our dual language instructional coach.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Jenny Lugo. As Mr. Luther said, I am the dual language instructional coach at John Adams. I started at John Adams many years ago as a first grade, and then I taught second grade in the dual language program, and now I work closely with teachers in the dual language to support them. I'm here to talk a little bit about our wonderful program that we have at John Adams. What is a dual language program? So, as I said, it's an optional program that we have. The ACPS dual language program welcomes learners from all language experiences to the opportunity to become bilingual and biliterate in both English and Spanish. Students become bilingual by learning side by side with English-speaking students, Spanish speakers, and other languages at the start of kindergarten. Next slide, please. Thank you. Here we have a dual language kindergarten sample schedule. So where you're gonna see the times is basically the same as a monolingual schedule that Ms. Kim will talk more later. So the main difference here is that students will learn literacy skills that support the work they do in in academic content areas in both languages, in English and Spanish. They would have a block of an hour and a half, a little bit more of Spanish language arts. So they learn how to read and write in Spanish. In addition to math, they're gonna be taught in Spanish, science, and social studies. And of course, they are going to receive English language arts block. So teachers maintain separation of language for instruction. They don't translate, but don't panic. Teachers are well prepared to support students to learn both languages in the class. And it's a long process. So next slide, please. Thank you. So bilingualism and biliteracy are the first goal in dual language. We want students to be able not only to talk, to understand and speak Spanish, but we want them, as I said before, to read and write in both languages, in English and Spanish. The second goal is to attain high levels of academic and social emotional competence in English and Spanish. And the third goal is to become lifelong cross-cultural learners. So dual language classroom bring together students from different language and cultures. So this allows students to see the similarities and differences in each other, and it provides opportunities to connect. All right, next slide. Thank you. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Yes, okay, thank you. So benefits of bilingualism. So all learners benefit from participating in a dual language program. So research studies has demonstrated that children who speak two languages often outperform monolingual peers in the long term. When I say monolingual peers, I'm talking about students who will receive instruction only in English. And this is a long term. We're not going to see it right away. Yes, Ms. Canton, go ahead, please.
All right, thank you everybody for your patience. Sometimes our sound and connections vary. We're all in different parts of the building right now. So I'm gonna jump in. Some other information about our dual language program that you can expect talks about the learning experience by grade level. So the instructional day in both kindergarten and first grade, in those places, we incorporate a 70-30 model. That means if you look here at our chart, 70% of the instruction taking place is in Spanish, and the remaining 30% takes place in English. It is very important for that immersion to take place, because if you think about it, everything else about our environment is predominantly in English. And so having that immersion heavily in kindergarten and first grade help with the language acquisition of our students. When they get to third grade or second grade, that's when our model goes to a 50-50 split. Half of the day in English, half of the day in Spanish. And these are models based on research and incorporated nationwide for immersion programs. To help us teach students and to help them acquire additional languages, we use lots of best practices. If you speak more than one language, then you know that you did so in various stages. First, by being exposed to language, your receptive knowledge or your ability to understand that language takes place first. And then we talk about our ability to produce language, that output. And so we provide students with lots of strategies and tools to help encourage language production, whether it is sentence frames or stems, use of songs for total physical response. We learn different things like body parts, instructions. We make it fun. We also help students using metacognitive skills. That means thinking about our thinking by using cognates. There are some words that you already know in this language. And if we can delineate the English from the Spanish, and make it visual, boys and girls are also able to make those connections. So we do this through using centers. We have trained all of our teachers in the use of these strategies so that we can make language acquisition easy and fun. It is a lengthy process, but it's fun to travel along the way. And now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Keene, one of our kindergarten teachers.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. As Ms. Canton said, my name is Courtney Keene. I have been in kindergarten this is my 20th year in kindergarten. I can't seem to make it over to first grade. I definitely love kindergarten. It is my heart. I find that kindergarten is the year in elementary school with the most growth, which is why I stay. And hopefully you'll be able to see that growth throughout the year of kindergarten as well, and even from starting now, because there's a huge amount of growth between age 4 and 6. So a kindergarten sample schedule. The times aren't exactly what they might be next year. This is just a sample, but students come in, they have breakfast, and then we get started with our day at 8 o'clock. We start with calendar. That is actually a part of our math curriculum. So we learn days of the week, months of the year, and we count and use a lot of our math through that calendar math time. We have an ELA block of time that's about 90 minutes altogether. Some of that time is individual and small group work where they're working on manipulating magnetic letters or using Play-Doh. And then the writing workshop time is where they are learning how to use those fine motor skills with their hands before we get to the point later in the year where they're actually drawing pictures and writing sentences to match those pictures. We have a lunchtime. Usually kindergarten is either the first lunch or the last lunch because we receive a snack from the school. So usually the last few years it's been a very early lunch, which is sometimes considered brunch, but they do go to lunch. They do have support from the kindergarten paraprofessional or the instructional assistant does go to lunch with them. So there will be adult support in the cafeteria to help them get through the line, open those containers, make sure that they're becoming more independent as they're learning how to open those containers and eat and make sure they actually eat their food during the allotted lunchtime. Students in kindergarten go to Encore for a period of time each day. We have art, music, library, and PE, which is twice a week. We have a recess time. Usually in the middle of the day, teachers go to a recess with the students, so they're supervised. We are going to make sure that they are moving their bodies and get some time outdoors. We have math. Also, we have a time of day called intervention and enrichment, which is just an additional time to support students if they need additional support in language acquisition, or in a time where they can offer enrichment activities as well. As I said earlier, we do have a snack that's provided by the school, and then we have science and social studies, which is a lot of getting up and moving around the classroom time to learn the science standards and the social studies standards. And then we have incorporated a new part of our day this year, and which will continue next year, which is called SEAL. It's social emotional academic learning. It's working on understanding their emotions and regulating emotions, and that time of day will continue next year as well. For our math curriculum, most of our curriculum, math, science, social studies, language arts, all of it is very hands-on, but especially math. Students use a lot of what we call manipulatives, and so we offer hands-on experiences so that they can learn those standards of understanding what numbers look like and understanding how many is in a certain number concept. So going on shape walks, going on number walks, using our bodies to make numbers. Some of the things we'll be learning throughout the school year: number identification, measurement, patterning, counting by ones, fives, tens, and addition and subtraction skills. For language arts, we have what we call a balanced literacy approach to language arts and understanding those beginning reading strategies and skills. And we have time where students work independently and they move throughout the classroom to work at different stations. We have the writer's workshop, which I mentioned when we were talking about the schedule, where they're learning how to build those letters. And then as we progress through the year, they're starting to write sentences and tell stories with their writing. We also offer small group differentiated instruction, which means it's kind of what you would think of with your reading groups. So students work in small groups with a few other students and a teacher to address different skills and strategies. Those groups don't stay the same. They change throughout the year, definitely even week to week based on the students' needs. And we also read independently using a box of books, and also even just things like environmental print, using labels from a McDonald's or Legos, things that they know how to read their name. And then as we go through the year, they'll start reading actual books and actual print. Some of our literacy stations, that time of day where we move through the classroom and work at different stations, we have magnetic letters, where they would use to build their name or build sight words or build their friends' names. This picture of the student is stamping letters, so they're just getting exposure to print in different ways. It's a lot of moving around the classroom. Only each station is only a couple of minutes long, keeping the students engaged. Next slide. Some of our special events in kindergarten, this changes year to year, particularly when you consider COVID has had an impact on some of our things this year. But a typical year, we have lots of special events. K-Prep is a kindergarten preparation program that we hopefully will be offering this summer in July or August. It's a time when I highly encourage, if you're able to send your child, to send them to school for that week. It's a chance for the students to get to know the school and the classroom, some of their friends and teachers before all of the older students come to John Adams. And it gets the students comfortable. And so when they start school on that first day, it's not so scary. We also will have an open house right before school starts. That's another opportunity just to become familiar with the building and the classroom, so it's not so overwhelming on that first day. We'll have a back to school night where you can learn a little bit more information about your child's specific classroom. We try to incorporate family events throughout the year. In the past, we've had Thanksgiving family events. We've had where students are creating gingerbread houses with family members. So we try to incorporate family as much as we can. Hopefully we'll be able to start doing that again this coming year. We also have things like a culture box project where we are each sharing our culture with our classmates and sharing what an international community we are. We have the 100th day of school, which is one of my favorite activities, as we count the days in school. When we reach day 100, which is usually in February, it's a big math day. We've now had taught the place value all the way to the hundreds place, and we spend the whole day counting to 100 in lots of different ways. That is probably the most memorable day students have in kindergarten, and it's a huge 100-day party. So that is my favorite day of kindergarten. We also try to take field trips when possible. So we've gone to the farm before, we've gone to puppet shows, we've gone to the Kennedy Center for shows, and we also try to take a nature walk several times throughout the year. There's a great nature trail behind our school where we use that time to really observe the changes in the trees and find things in nature as we are to coincide with what we're learning about in science. Communication is key. Your teachers, all of our kindergarten teachers, the best way to make your child have a successful year in kindergarten is just to have effective communication. So we'll send folders home with information. We also are, as soon as you know who your child's teacher is and get that information, I encourage you to join Class Dojo, which is an app that you will get information both from the school and also from your child's specific teacher, and you'll be able to communicate one-on-one and also have information that goes to all of the parents. This is just a lot of information that you'll probably get several times as we start the school year in kindergarten. Conferences are held in November and February, but obviously if you want to talk to your child's teacher before then, anytime, just schedule a conference. But those are the official conferences that we offer through ACPS. Things like if your child is absent, just let the teacher in the office know so we can make sure we keep your child informed of, or we're informed of where your child is that day. Same with dismissal changes, just keep that communication so we can make sure that there's no problems with dismissal. We don't want to put a child on a bus when the parent is coming to pick them up. And then the other thing, we have a school wellness policy that just means that we are allergen aware of the allergens that might be impacting students in our building. And so for birthdays, we absolutely celebrate birthdays in kindergarten. That's a big deal, but we do not use food items to celebrate those birthdays. So we can't have in birthday cake and cupcakes and that kind of thing. But your student will absolutely celebrate their birthday. We'll have a birthday crown and we'll sing to them. If you would like to support and send in anything, we just encourage you to send in things like pencils or stickers, just so we make sure that everyone stays safe in terms of allergens.
That Ms. Keen.
Some things that we you can do to prepare, obviously complete registration, which we'll talk about in another minute, and again, be on the lookout for information about K-Prep, and then encourage independence. We are here to teach your child to read and to do all of the things that we're learning in academics in kindergarten. That's our job. So you don't have to do that. But we want them to be able to be comfortable in school, and part of being comfortable is being able to dress themselves when they go to the restroom, use the restroom on their own, carrying their own backpack. So just start practicing those things now. Requesting items with words, practicing, you can practice finding their name in print, and then just talk with your child and read with your child. Reading is the thing that will push over and over and over. It's great time one-on-one with your child as you read in whatever language you speak. Talk about what's happening in the story, talk about the pictures, and it's just a great time to spend with your child and also benefits them academically as well.
Before we go on to hear from Nurse Huggins, I wanted to reiterate something that Ms. Keen said, which is why kindergarten is so incredibly exciting. Because from day one until day 180, the amount of growth that takes place in those students is really amazing. Not just physical size, but them getting bigger, but also their social growth and also their academic growth. And to see that process over the course of their kindergarten year is very rewarding, and it's very cool to watch, and it's very cool to be a part of. So I can understand why Ms. Keen would share that with you, because I think that's why she and I both love working with kindergarten. Next up, we have Nurse Huggins.
And before Nurse Huggins talks about the required health information, I see that we have a raised hand. If I can ask you to hold on to a question or comment, we just have a few more slides and we will open for questions at that time. You can also use the Q&A feature to type or text any questions that you have that are immediate. Thank you.
Good morning, families. Thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you also for entrusting us with your prized possessions. We love your children very much, and we're happy to have them. Kindergarten is exciting for me because it gives me an opportunity to get to know them, and that I get to read about their physical examination and what chronic conditions or health conditions they may have, or allergies. I also get to do hearing and vision screening for all kindergartners, and that's an awesome way to get to know them. I talk with them and check how their hearing is and how their vision is, and I would be in touch with you if it was anything other than passing. So if you don't hear from me about hearing and vision, that means they passed the hearing and vision. And also, Ms. Keen and the team invite me to join their community helpers curriculum. So every year I get to be a big part of that curriculum and share about myself as a nurse and just what it would be like to be a nurse, to maybe encourage some school nurses and nurses for the future. Part of my job also is to ensure that we have all of the proper registration documents that relate to health and wellness. And these are guidelines that come to us from the state and then through ACPS. So it's not just a John Adams guideline, it really is uniform for all of ACPS, no matter what grade you come to us. So a physical examination that is done within 12 months before your children enter kindergarten is a requirement. Also a tuberculosis screening of some sort. That may be a tuberculosis risk assessment or a skin test. In some cases, it may be a blood test or a chest x-ray, but your healthcare provider will make that determination. We also require documentation of age-appropriate required vaccines. This has become even more valuable during COVID. I know it's harder to get to the healthcare provider sometimes, but we really do want to protect our children against these vaccine preventable illnesses. So the vaccine record must be up to date for what is recommended for children at that age of kindergarten. New this year is hepatitis A as a requirement. So our incoming kindergartners, in addition to the previously required vaccines, will now also need to have hepatitis A. The one thing I would ask you also, I will see it on the child's physical examination and I'll reach out to you, but please reach out ahead of time to me if you need to speak with me about your child's asthma or seizure disorder or a serious allergy or attention deficit hyperactivity, any chronic condition that may require us to need to give medications at school specifically. Those will require that you and a healthcare provider fill them out and sign them, and an adult will need to deliver the medication to school. We ask that no medication be sent back and forth to school by a child, mostly for safety. We don't want your child to be responsible for something that could be dangerous for others and themselves. I look forward to hearing from you. You can call me. Ms. Bridges shared the SST email. I also have an email address. And as Ms. Canton and Mr. Luther, Ms. Audie and Courtney and Jenny and Gwen said, we all are a team. So if you ask any of us a question that we can't answer, we have a wealth of resources around us. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to greet your children in the fall.
Thank you, Nurse Huggins. So a little information about our kindergarten registration process. You'll see our registrar's picture up in the corner. That is Miss Peralta, Miss Ingrid Peralta. She is currently assisting a family with a registration right now. Registration is open. Now, to begin the registration process, you need to register online. That gives us the information needed to schedule an appointment to complete the process in person. Any questions that you have about that, we are here at the school. This is our general number, often answered by our registrar, and we can answer any of the specific questions that you have. Also, when you go to the website to complete registration, they will give you a little more detail about the required documentation. So first, we do need an original or certified copy of a birth certificate, original or certified birth certificate, proof of guardianship, physical exam and immunization records, which Nurse Huggins just talked about a little bit, and also proof of residency. And to establish or document proof of residency, there are 3 total documents that we will need. All of those are explained in detail on our website when you try to begin the registration process. We cannot grant in-person appointments until that process has been started. If for some reason you are unable to do that online registration, you may call so that we can try to assist you, but we will not be able to do the in-person portion until we have the preliminary information. So thank you for your understanding there. And now we are at the point in our presentation where we can take questions. And if you'll note in the chat feature that you see along that toolbar at the bottom, there are some very useful links, email addresses, and other contact information that you will find. If you can get to one of us, we will make sure that we get the information that you need and get it back to you. So don't sweat it if you didn't get everybody's email address from a slide. It is here in the chat now if you're able to copy and paste it and save it for later. If not, all of our information and contact info can be found on our website. Now, also on the toolbar at the bottom, you will see a Q&A icon that looks like little text boxes. We can use that feature now to take any questions that you have. And there we go. On the topic of bathroom independence, will children need to be able to fully wipe themselves after a BM or a bowel movement? We do need students to be able to use the bathroom completely independently. That said, we know that sometimes boys and girls need help when they emerge with buttons and fastening things, and we are available to support them with that. We're not going to leave a child undone, if you will. However, the personal hygiene components, this is a great time to start practicing some of those things so that our boys and girls are able to do that on their own. Our kindergarten classes have bathrooms within the classrooms, so they never need to leave the room to use the restroom. However, that means that they would literally go into the restroom while instruction is taking place. They are able to do their business and emerge again and transition back into learning. So the focus at this time should be on independence. And I do encourage all questions. There's no question that's too small. Does my child need to be able to differentiate her ABCs visually before beginning kindergarten? So we start to learn about needs and wants at school. And to be honest, this is not a need. If your child is in a position to do these things already, fantastic. We believe in equipping our kids with information when they're ready prior to the start of school. So if there are a few minutes in the day where you can review ABCs as a family and it's not stressing you out to do so, we encourage you to do it. Otherwise, know that this will happen on a daily basis for all of our kindergarten friends. Now, this question hasn't been asked, but I'm going to throw it out there because it's one that we get every year. What if my child already knows their ABCs? What if my child has some emerging reading skills already? That's awesome. And we take all of that into account when we do our instructional activities. Ms. Keene mentioned differentiation and small groups and boxes with books that are basically leveled to your child's skill. There are lots of things that your child will be able to do independently on a level that is appropriate to them. But when the teacher is teaching the entire group, she makes sure to target all of our students, and there are themes that are critical to all. So for example, if your child already knows ABCs and the teacher is working and pointing them out, some kids are still recognizing ABCs. Some are still matching the visual to what they know and the letter sound. Some students are making the connection already to the sound that each letter makes. And some kids are looking at the impact of that letter and how it starts a word or ends a word. And so it all works to their benefit. Is it necessary for your child to be able to do this already? No. If you're in a position to do something to get them into a routine, go for it. So as questions continue to come into the chat, I just want to reiterate that John Adams is an amazing place to learn and grow. And we make sure that we support our kids academically, but also social and emotionally. We want them to have friendships. We want them to thrive. We want them to have fun. We love hearing peals of laughter in our classroom and throughout our halls. And it's often the adults, but very often it's the students. We come here every day because we love what we do. And it's a magical place. And in our school, you have access to so many programs. In addition to our Changing Education Through the Arts program, where we work with teaching artists who help our instructional staff, all of our teachers and instructional assistants with strategies that benefit your child. So sometimes we're learning about science while we sing. Sometimes we're learning about history while also using movement to demonstrate our understanding. We have learned to read by reading art and painting. And it is the beginning of an awesome journey through which you will find your child blossoming into a fully rounded individual. We love our encore classes, music, using instruments, expressing ourselves through art, and PE is always a favorite. And we think it's really important for our kids to have those experiences too. And all of our teachers work really closely together to reinforce things. So if we are counting by ones or twos or fives or tens in kindergarten, and we happen to be in PE and we're working on jumping skills, why not do that while reinforcing our skip counting concepts and skills? And that's one of the things that we love to do. We love working together to make sure that all of the needs of our kids and our families are met. I can also tell you that when we are back to something else that resembles more normalcy, we have lots of opportunities, not just for engagement in our kindergarten class, but we have school-wide events like a school-wide science fair. We encourage you to come out. One of our biggest events is our multicultural night. We have a lot of pride here at John Adams, and there are some things that we learn and try to do together, like character skills and character traits, but we are so impressed, proud, respectful of, and celebratory of the differences. So we want you to bring those things with you. We want to learn about where families are from and what are some practices. And our curriculum reinforces that. And we try to create opportunities for our kids to demonstrate how proud they are. So that's another way that we try to get together. Another event or series of events that you can look forward to as parents are coffee sessions with the principal. So we offer PTA meetings in the evening. They're monthly events. And then we also have on average a monthly coffee event that's not super formal. There's an agenda at the beginning. We will survey parents, say, hey, what do you want to know more about? And we make sure that information is available to you. Sometimes we share strategies to support learning at home, and we have coffee and sometimes refreshments and some fellowship. So get to know the parents of the other kids in your class or the school community. And we have another question. What kind of sports do we have for kindergartners? So I'm gonna try to address this, but let's break it into two separate categories. We have Encore, which is a part of the school day and part of our instructional program. And we have a curriculum that uses the standards of learning throughout the state of Virginia. So our kids are going to work on gross motor skills. They're going to work on throwing, catching, skipping, kicking. But if you are asking about extracurricular activities, we have some of the best. So we make sure that we include our kindergartners in the second semester offering of a soccer program and partnership that we've had with Alexandria Soccer. I'm a little hesitant to talk about these things right now just because everyone is updating their protocols and what they can reasonably offer and extend to school communities as well as the city. And so I don't have all of the details, but in the past, this is something that we did offer to our kindergarten friends. I am going to also give a bit of a time check. We have a few more minutes for questions if you have them. But I will also remind you that even though this webinar will come to a close, we will still be here. So you can email us, you can call us, please explore our website and ask any of the questions that you may have after you've had time to process this. Make sure you start the registration process online so we can get you in here sooner rather than later. And there will be lots of information coming out between now and the start of the school year. So please stay connected, stay in touch, and don't be shy. Reach out with any questions that you have. And with that, Mr. Luther, kindergarten administrator extraordinaire, you can take us out because I don't see any additional questions in the chat.
So I really wanted to thank you for coming today to hear our presentation and for taking part in it. We're super excited about welcoming in a new kindergarten group starting in August. And I am certainly looking forward to working with our 6 kindergarten teachers next year and getting to know your sons or daughters, and as well getting to know you. I work Kiss and Ride, so I'm there every morning and afternoon. If your son or daughter comes in a vehicle, it's a good way for me to meet kids right off the bat and get to know some of the parents. But again, I wanted to thank the staff and thank you for being here today. And we will be ready to meet the call as we move towards the opening of school next year. Again, thanks for coming and have a great Friday. We have a wave from everybody on our group, our panel. Goodbye, parents. Thank you so much. Take care.